So we shall start by creating our very first home page, and we said we are going to build a profile, a personal profile page or a personal profile website, which we shall later modify to just not become a website but rather to become a web app where someone can even be able to go to our profile page. They can book an appointment, they can send us a message, they can be able to contact us, and all that kind of functionalities as we continue learning across the way. Sorry about that. So to create any project or to create any web project, the first thing you will need to do is to create a separate folder where you are going to store your code files. All right. So I'm going to my desktop and I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it portfolio. All right. So I'm going to call this folder portfolio because it's going to have a website about myself. Once I have this empty folder created on my desktop, then now I'm ready to start writing the code. So what do? I need to now to open the tool for writing the code, and that is the IDE. So I want to head over, search for my IDE, which is a Visual Studio, and click on it in order to open it. And once my IDE is open, then I'm going to make sure that I clean up the workspace. So this is a previous project with a different class. What I want to do is to maybe even open a new window in a VS Code, and that's how a new window will look like. So then I'm going to open that particular folder. Let me close this welcome window. So I'm heading over to files, and I'm going to open a new folder. Open a folder. It will open your file browser to ask you which folder you want to open in VS Code. So I'm going over to my desktop and select the folder which I just created, and the folder name is portfolio. It's right here. So I select it and I open it right here. So once it opens here, I want to make sure that alright, Visual Studio will ask you to whether you trust the folder just for security purpose. So you're going to say I trust, and then you're going to close this window. You can as well close this so that you can have a wider working area or working space. So once your folder is open right here, then you are ready to go ahead and create your files, HTML files. How then do we start creating our very first page? We create, for each page we are going to create a file for it. We're going to create a file for it. So we go over to File tab and click New File, and then we are going to type the file name here. So I'm going to call it home page. Alright, and because it is going to be a HTML file, it must end with the file extension of .html to make it an HTML file. Then you're going to press enter on your keyboard, and you're going to just click create. And once that is created, you can see now you have a new file here which is empty for now. It does not have any code. Now you're going to start by writing HTML, and we write HTML basically by defining the tags and the content. So the very first tag that you want to write is the doc type, which tells the browser that this is a document type of HTML. Then you're going to type the root element which must be present in every HTML page, and that is HTML. And then that is going to be followed by the head tag, which we shall talk about it later. For now, just know it is a head tag, and within a head tag we are going to add yet another tag called the title, which we shall also talk about it in a few minutes. And then within that title we might put a title and say this is a home page. Alright, and then below the head we are going to add another important tag, which is the body, and we're going to explain what does it do. And then within the body I'm going to add another tag called the paragraph, or the P tag, which defines the paragraph, and I'm going to say welcome to my professional portfolio. Alright, and now we're going to just save this work. So I'm going to click Ctrl S on my keyboard and save it, or you can click on File tab and still come over to save here. Now after saving the work, then let us view this web page on the browser. Let us view it on the browser, and there are two ways in which we can view it. One is that you can go to the desktop and you go to that your folder, which is portfolio. What is it here? Right here, and you can see the page which you have created, homepage.html. You can double click on this and it will automatically open on your default browser. As you can see, my default browser is Chrome. So once you double click on it, it is going to open automatically in the Chrome browser. You can see my computer is a bit slow. Yes, so it opens up here and you are able to see the page displayed, and the one paragraph that you have added is right here. Another way in which you can view this page is by using the live server. Alright, so you can come within the VS Code itself. VS Code has a tool called live server, which allows you to serve the web sites on the browser. So this is the home page that we just created. You're going to right click on it and select open with a live server, and that opens it up in your default browser again. And a live server takes a bit more time, because if you look at it here, it has to start the server, and then it has to now assign the port number for that your website or your web application, and then the server has now to open it in the browser. So it takes a bit more time, and you can see the port number that has been assigned. If you look at the bottom right here, the port number is 5500. It means that your website or your web app now is running or is being served on the port number 55. And when you open it here, you see the URL. The URL is a combination of the IP address, the port number, and the path, as we discussed earlier in the concept of IP address, the port numbers, and the URLs. The advantage of using a live server is that if you make any changes here, let's say you add a second paragraph, okay, and save it up, and my computer is lagging behind. If you save these changes, you don't have to refresh, you don't have to come back to the browser and refresh the changes. Automatically the live server will detect that changes that you've added, and it will automatically refresh the page, and the changes will reflect automatically. But if you're using a manual way where you go and double click to open, then it means that every other time you add some changes, you have to come to the browser and restart or reload the page using the reload button right here, right? So that is it, a bit about just a simple page that we have built. And now let's explain the few tags, the few HTML tags that we've added in here. So you can see we said that the doc type is the tag that tells the browser that this is a document type of HTML, and then we have the HTML tag itself, which is the root tag. That means that this is the first tag that every other tag must be within this tag. And when you look at it, it has the opening tag, it has the start tag, and the end tag. Then we have the head tag, which we normally use to add some meta information, as we shall see in the upcoming lesson. Then within the head, we put the title of the page, and the title of the page is nothing but the text that shows up on the browser tab of that page. So when you look at our browser tab right here, you see the title that we've specified appears right here. And that is the case for every website that you visit. It normally has a title tag, I mean a title text. Then we have the body, that is the tag that contains all the visible content that should be displayed in the visible area of the browser. So if you come to the browser here, whatever that is going to be displayed in this white area is what we are referring to it as a body. If you like anything to appear in this space, then it has to appear within the body tag inside your HTML page. And finally, now we have this tag called the P, which is a short form of saying a paragraph that we use to define a paragraph. Alright, that we use to define a paragraph. If now we make this paragraph to be a long, let me just copy. I want to go to the browser and say a sample HTML paragraph, and then I'm going to copy it. Let me get this from this AI clip, expand more. Yeah, so let me copy this content here just to demonstrate clearly what a paragraph is. So I'm going to paste this multiple times, and also I'm going to do the same for the second paragraph. So let me save, and now when we go back to our page, the live server should pick up the changes automatically. And now you can see there is a clear distinction between this, the first paragraph, and then a space, and then the second paragraph. So the more paragraphs you define, and then that is labeled clearly by leaving some space in between the paragraphs to indicate this is a different paragraph and this is another paragraph. So far we have been able to create a simple page and been able to serve it using a live server, and we have even introduced one tag, and that is the paragraph tag. Up to this point I will pause and give room for you to ask a question in case there is any before we proceed to the next concept.